All right, so welcome back to the last session. The fourth session is to create the buttons to play the MP3 player, right? So, uh, for this assignment, I found that you were actually being told to use the user control to actually create your iPod in a user control and drag it over to your phone. I found that it's easily get crashed in Visual Studio 2015 and 2017 onwards. So I give it an option that you do not really need to use the user control. You can straight away use the buttons to control the iPod here, right, or your video player here, without the need to use the user control. So it's optional to you, right? But because I do not want your, your experience with the app crash that, uh, you know, did not really bring any useful learning to you, right? So I've already demonstrated to you how to do the user control in the class. So it's pretty easy and you do not really need to do it again in your assignment, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and create a few buttons and also um, how to control the playlist here, right? So at your apps here, you can just go ahead and add the buttons. We're dragging the buttons from the toolbox, and you can name your button like a play button here, right? And then of course you want to name the content as play, for example, right? It's up to your creativity. You can even put some transparency buttons into your iPod, right? It's up to you. So that's basically how you want to prepare buttons, and you can drag more for stop button, next button, previous button, or volume increase decrease buttons, right? And if you wanted to edit your playlist or your song title and path here, there's one way to do that by expanding your data source viewer to and select the details. All right, so that will give you a way to actually have a chance to view your song title and path in a list of text boxes so that you can modify them and update them accordingly. Right, so simply select that details and then drag it from the data source and drop it to your WPF form. You will see that the ID, path, and title is available here. And whenever you select your list box, uh, this corresponding details will change accordingly, right? Okay, and of course I want to have a button like our update buttons here, right? And then yeah, that's to make the updates to the forms here, and I can of course have buttons to add and delete songs as well, right? So add songs, delete songs. Okay, okay, yeah. So let me show you what you will get after it's being added. So most probably you have something like this. Okay, you have the um, some buttons already created with the update, add songs, delete songs. So I'm going to explain to you what are all the codes behind all these buttons. So let's begin with the play button, right? So on the play button, I actually call the display method, which is this one, right? To simply stop the player and then open the path song, right? And then you can see P1 here is actually going for the string, right? And then this is the relative path. Okay, so open back the songs and then played it, right? So it's just that simple. Okay, because you have already coded your MP3 path into the database table, right? So it knows where to find for that songs because all your songs it's already being stored into the songs folder, right? And of course, stop buttons is just to stop the player. And if you have a next button, so the next button, you can make a checking to make sure that uh, the positions of the media player, right? It's not zero, it's already start moving. Then you can move to the next one, right? By using back the same path. So this path is actually pointing back to the song's path, right? In your bin debug directory. Okay. Yeah, and then the same thing, you display that you actually try to play the songs back, and then you move your items from the list box to the next item. So you actually have to move it manually, right? So it's kind of simulating, right, on the current positions of the list item, and you move to the next item once you click the next button, right? So the next one here is simply add to the counter so that I will know which songs I'm playing right now, and he returned back the status of the collection list, right? The M counter that I've already set uh, in my uh, definitions here, right? So I always know what songs I'm currently playing here. Okay, yeah. Then volume up, of course, it's just a dot volume, and you can use a bus equal, which is a shortcut of m player dot volume equals to m player dot volume plus 0.1, right? It's the same thing when you want to do the volume down, you can just minus equals 0.1. Okay. And once you have done all the updates, if you need to make any changes, so whatever changes that you have made on the text boxes, the detailed text boxes, you will just submit back the changes back to the database, right? Adding a new songs, right? I forced the Microsoft Windows 32 to have the open file dialog so that it looks like, exactly the same open file dialog that we used to be, right? We used to open files, and then I'm gonna browse for all kind of formats, or you can just limit it to MP3 formats, right? And then show the dialog and save the songs or images to the DB and the file location, right? So let's take a look on this method here. First, I have the um, adding back the path to the database, right? So viewer is my database table, if you can remember, right? The viewer. So it's a new image or it's a new song, right? Then I get the I put the title in, right? Title is just simply I took the remove the .mp3 behind, and then I added in, for example, just call it Kalimba here, right? So there are 4 characters behind, it's being removed. So that's why I have a length -4 here, right? And the path is just simply the simple file name that I retrieved just now, right? From the file dialog. So if it's a new songs, so I'm going to insert on submit the whole new image or new song, right, into the tables viewer and submit changes, right? And of course, I'm going to copy the physical file back to the song folder, right? For example, if I have a new song, I need to copy it back, to the song folder as at the bin debug folder, so that even when the database has been updated, the actual file song will also be updated as well, right? Yeah, and then I reload the list box so that if you kind of refresh it to the current state with the new song, right? So the same thing works for the delete, right? I'm going to remove image, or you can call it remove songs from the DB and file location. So I get the file name where which one that you select from the um, list box, all right? And then the delete items, I'm going to find from the use the link data context, right? Photos, and then where the photos path equals to the remove file name, right? So I select which one you want to remove here. For example, if it was selected with Kalimba, so I just come here and select this one, and it's get ready to be removed. Okay, so after I got it, I go through the viewer table, and then I'll delete it on submit and submit changes and reload back the list box. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty much about the code explanation. And let's take a look on the final demo. So we have a song I can play, right? And next, right? Stop it, responding, right? If I want to add the new songs, I can just add the new songs like yesterday. Once more song here, right? Have the new songs. Select the yesterday, and then this is the part I don't want to touch, but I can change the title the, to any titles that I want and just make an update. So you can see once I click the update, the songs will be reflected here, right? Yeah, and I can just play it right away, right? Because the song has been copied to visible here, songs here, right? You can see that. And I can stop it. If I want to remove the songs, I just delete songs from here, right? Okay, so that's pretty much for the whole four sessions. So I hope that it's helpful to you. And if you still have any questions, feel free to discuss that in the WhatsApp or the RMS forum, or you can bring that into the tutorial for class when we meet, right? Thank you for watching. Bye.